if you are, working like 60 hours a week, doing absolutely everything in your business.
Right, just drowning in it.
Exactly. Like if you were the one sending every single email, formatting every invoice, and I don't know, manually posting every social media update, you know, you aren't actually a dedicated hustler.
Yeah, you're really just financially sabotaging yourself.
Totally. So today we're going to look at why doing the work yourself is sometimes the exact thing keeping you from being successful.
It is a really tough pill to swallow, honestly, because we have been deeply, deeply conditioned to believe that exhaustion is basically like a receipt for hard work.
Oh, 100%.
Like, if you aren't burned out, you must not care enough.
Right. You wear that burnout like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
But then you look at your bank account or, your actual output and you realize you are just spinning your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is hustle culture demands that you be the CEO, the janitor, the marketing department, and the accountant all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually brings us to the mission for this deep dive. We are looking at this brilliant excerpt from Chapter 5 of a text on building better systems, and it's specifically titled Leverage and Automation for Lazy Smart Hustlers.
Yeah, I love that title.
So good. So the mission today is we are going to dismantle the toxic idea that doing it all yourself is the only way to succeed.
It's a profound paradigm shift, really. The text forces us to move away from the mindset of, how can I physically do more, to a much more strategic mindset of how can I do less but achieve significantly more.
Okay, let's unpack this because the text hits you right between the eyes with this core quote. The smartest hustlers aren't the ones working the most hours. They're the ones whose hours do the most work.
Wow, yeah. That quote beautifully tees up the primary myth that the text busts right out of the gate.
Which is what?
Well, there is this pervasive ego-driven myth that real hustlers do everything themselves, right? And that if you outsource or automate a process, it somehow implies you aren't fully committed to your craft.
Which the text calls out as a complete lie.
A total fabrication. Yeah. I mean, the reality presented here is that doing it all yourself is a hard ceiling. It's not a noble act.
Right.
You simply cannot grow beyond the 24 hours in a day unless you learn to multiply your capacity. If you insist on doing every single task, you are artificially capping your own potential because you are operating as the ultimate bottleneck.
So how do we actually break through that bottleneck? The source provides this foundational framework, and they call it the only you test.
Yes, the only you test. It's crucial.
Yeah, and before you start any task, you have to run it through this specific filter and ask yourself, is there anyone or anything else that could do this as well as me or better?
Which raises an important question, right? Like, why are we so terrified to ask that? I think it mostly comes down to ego.
Oh, for sure.
We genuinely believe we are the only human beings on Earth capable of, formatting a newsletter correctly or sending a polite calendar invite. But if we are honest, the answer to that question is almost always yes.
Right. And if the answer is yes, like somebody or something else can do it, then that task belongs in one of three buckets.
Mm-hmm.
You either template it, you automate it, or you delegate it. We're talking about things like formatting documents, basic research, invoicing, or, data entry.
Exactly.
But if the answer is no, that is when you do it yourself. Because those are the tasks that actually drive growth.
Yeah.
Strategic decisions, building relationships with clients, creative direction, high-stakes communication.
Think about the mechanics of a hospital for a second. You have the highly paid head surgeon, and you have the incredibly capable hospital staff. The head surgeon isn't the one taking your blood pressure.
Or filling out your intake paperwork.
Right, or changing the linens.
And it's not because they can't do those things.
No, exactly. It's because their highly specialized time needs to be reserved entirely for surgery. Like every minute the surgeon spends doing administrative paperwork is a minute they aren't performing life-saving care.
That makes a lot of sense.
The system dictates their role. You have to view yourself as the head surgeon of your own career. Every time you do low-level admin work, you are neglecting the surgery, the high-value work that actually moves the needle.
But wait, I actually have to push back here. Let's look at a real-world scenario. If a client emails me with a question, they expect ME to answer.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
If a virtual assistant or some autoresponder replies, won't the client feel slighted? Doesn't this whole framework just mean giving up quality control?
It is a completely valid fear, but I think you are confusing customer service with systematized customer service.
Okay, how so?
The client doesn't actually care if you physically typed the email. They care that their problem was solved quickly and accurately. And the text offers a really cool pro tip to test this fear.
What is it?
Apply the Only You test to your task list for 1 full week. Just observe everything you do. The text notes that you will discover a shocking 40 to 60% of your work doesn't actually require your specific brain trust.
Wait, really? Up to 60%?
Yeah, up to 60%.
Finding out half my workload shouldn't even be on my plate is wild. But it leads to the obvious next problem. Okay, so I've realized half my work shouldn't be mine. But I don't have the budget to go hire a massive team of people right now to take it over.
Right, most people don't.
So how do I get it off my plate without spending a fortune?
That is exactly why the text introduces the leverage stack. It is broken down into 4 distinct levels, and it starts with things that cost absolutely $0.
Okay, I like the sound of $0.
Level 1 is templates. The text refers to this as the zero-cost multiplier.
And the strict rule they give for this is fascinating. Every single task you do more than twice should become a template. Proposal structures, email responses, onboarding checklists, social media captions.
The mechanism behind why this works is cognitive load reduction. It isn't just about saving the 5 minutes of typing. It is about saving the mental energy of figuring out how to start. When you reinvent the wheel every single time you send a discovery call script, you just drain your creative battery.
Yeah, and by building it once and reusing it indefinitely, the text points out that the average freelancer saves 4 to 6 hours a week, starting on day one.
Day one.
But here's the limitation I immediately see. Templates save me typing, sure, but I still have to, physically open my email, attach the template, remember who to send it to, and actually hit send. How do I get out of the manual loop entirely?
Which naturally pushes us to level 2, and that is automation. This is where we start bending time.
Yeah.
You can basically think of automation like hiring a part-time employee who never sleeps, never calls in sick, and works 24/7 for free.
It kind of feels like laying down digital plumbing. Like, if you need water, you can carry a heavy bucket from the well to your house every single day.
Right.
That's manual data entry. Or you can spend a whole weekend digging a trench and laying pipes. It takes a ton of upfront effort, but once you turn the valve, the water just flows. You never carry a bucket again.
That is the perfect analogy. And people always assume laying those digital pipes requires a degree in computer science or, I don't know, a massive enterprise budget. But the source provides this essential automation stack, proving that the infrastructure for a highly leveraged business is largely free, or at least incredibly cheap.
Let's actually look at the mechanisms of some of these tools so we aren't just reading a list.
Yeah.
Take Calendly, for example, under their scheduling tools.
Oh, Calendly is a lifesaver.
Without it, scheduling a meeting is just a nightmare of email ping pong. Are you free Tuesday? No, how about Wednesday at 2? Every one of those emails pulls you out of deep work.
Exactly. Calendly uses APIs to constantly read your digital calendar in real time. It mathematically prevents double booking.
Right.
You just send one link, the client picks a time that works for them, and the software automatically creates the calendar event for both of you and sends the Zoom link. The friction is entirely gone.
Then you have a tool like Loom, which they highly recommend for design and content. Loom is essentially a screen recording tool. So instead of typing a massive, confusing 5-paragraph email explaining how a client should log in to a new portal.
You just click record.
Exactly. Show your screen, talk for 2 minutes, and send the link.
Because visual communication is exponentially faster than text. You are saving your own time while actually giving the client a better, more personal experience.
And under that same category, they mention Notion. But hold on, the text calls Notion a second brain. Let's translate that for a second. What does a second brain actually mean in practice?
Well, think of your biological brain as a processor, not a hard drive. Your mind is meant for having ideas, not for holding them.
Oh, I like that.
A second brain is just a centralized digital system, in this case Notion, where you dump all your processes, client notes, and standard operating procedures. You don't have to remember anything because your system remembers it for you.
That makes total sense. To round out the rest of this essential stack, they highlight ChatGPT for getting 10x output speed on brainstorming and first drafts. For social media, you have tools like Buffer and Later to schedule posts weeks in advance.
And the financial stack they provide is remarkably robust for a global audience, too.
It really is. They list Stripe as the standard for global payments, but I appreciate that they specifically call out Paystack as the best option for Nigerian and African markets.
Yes.
Reducing the friction of payment increases your conversion rates. If it's hard to pay you, people just won't. They also highlight Wave, which gives you full accounting, invoicing, and tax prep at zero cost alongside Invoice Ninja.
Moving to web and email, they point to MailChimp and ConvertKit for automated email sequences. Again, mostly free to start.
And for landing pages, they mention Card, which is just $19 for an entire year,
Wow.
plus Linktree to give you a single link for all your destinations. Finally, to manage all this, you have Trello and Asana for visual project boards, Toggle for time tracking, and Google Workspace as your operational backbone.
The sheer volume of tools can sound overwhelming, but the text anticipates this.
They really do. They break down this brilliant 90-minute setup for first-timers to prove you can lay your first round of digital plumbing in an hour and a half.
I love the narrative flow of this setup. It removes all the dread of getting started.
Step 1. Take 15 minutes to set up Calendly with your availability. Step 2. Take 10 minutes to configure Calendly's automated confirmation email so clients get your onboarding info the exact second they book.
Right.
Step 3. Spend 20 minutes writing 3 core email templates: a post-discovery call, a proposal follow-up, and a project completion email.
You've just eliminated hours of future inbox anxiety right there.
Totally. Then step 4, take 25 minutes to set up Buffer, connect your social profiles, and schedule your next 2 weeks of content. And finally, step 5, take 20 minutes to create a new inquiry email template so you never respond to a new lead from a blank screen again. 90 minutes total.
That is less time than most people spend doom scrolling on a weeknight.
Seriously.
And the return on that single hour and a half pays dividends forever.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We've talked about the theory and the tools, but how does this actually translate to revenue? The text gives us a concrete case study of a woman named Chioma to show the real-world mechanism.
Chioma's story perfectly illustrates the shift from manual labor to leveraged systems.
So Chioma managed social media for 4 clients. Before applying this stack, she spent 3 hours every single Sunday manually posting content.
3 hours.
Imagine the dread of giving up your Sunday afternoon every week just to copy and paste text.
She was the ultimate bottleneck in her own business.
Then she built her digital plumbing. She used Buffer to schedule all posts in advance. She used Notion to build her second brain, a content template bank with over 30 reusable formats.
That's right.
She used Google Sheets and connected the APIs so her engagement metrics auto-track per client, eliminating manual data entry completely. And she built a monthly report template.
The mathematical results of that system are staggering.
Her Sunday setup time dropped from 3 hours of dread to 45 minutes of simple review. Because she bought back her own time, she had the capacity to double her client roster from 4 to 8.
Amazing.
Her revenue jumped from $1,200 a month to $2,400 a month, with 0 additional work hours overall.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what Chioma actually accomplished was transitioning into level 3 of the leverage stack, which is productization.
Hold on. Productization sounds a bit like boardroom jargon. Let's translate that. Are you basically saying we should treat a custom service like consulting or, say, mowing lawns exactly like buying a physical product off a shelf at Walmart?
That is exactly what it means. Let's use your lawn mowing analogy. The old unleveraged way is a client asks for yard work. You drive out there, look at the lawn, spend an hour writing a custom proposal, and guess how many hours it will take to price it.
Right.
It's exhausting. Productization means you create 3 fixed options. You have the basic mow for $50, the premium edge and trim for $75, and the elite landscaping package for $150.
The scope is fixed. The price is fixed. The client just clicks buy.
Precisely. It speeds up the sales process because the client knows exactly what they're getting. It sets incredibly clear expectations. And most importantly, it detaches your income from the hours you work.
That's the dream.
Yeah, and the text explicitly states that productization is how solo consultants scale without having to hire a massive team.
Okay, so I've templated my repetitive tasks. I've laid the digital plumbing to automate my scheduling. I've productized my services into fixed packages. I am a hyper-efficient machine.
You are.
But there's still a physical limit to the hours in the day. Even with all this leverage, I am just one person.
Which brings us to the ultimate ceiling breaker. Level 4 of the leverage stack, delegation, multiplying your output using other people's time.
But the text doesn't just say go hire people. It provides a very strict mathematical decision framework for when and how to delegate.
Yes, very strict.
First, you need consistent income. They benchmark it at $1,500 or more a month. Second, the task needs to take 3 or more hours a week to be worth the friction of managing someone else.
And third, the return on investment, the ROI, must be obvious. This requires you to calculate your effective hourly rate.
Let's do the concrete math on that so it makes sense.
Mm.
If I make $4,000 a month and I work 100 hours a month to get it, my effective hourly rate is $40 an hour.
Right. So if you are spending 3 hours a week formatting a newsletter, you are essentially paying $120 of your own potential earning power to do a formatting job.
But if I pay a virtual assistant $15 an hour to do that formatting, it only costs me $45. I just bought back $120 worth of my time for 45 bucks.
Exactly. You netted $75 in theoretical value, plus you got 3 hours of your life back to focus on high-ticket client work or, just to take a nap. What's fascinating here is the psychological shift required.
Yeah, totally.
Most people look at paying a VA $45 as a painful expense. It's money leaving their bank account. But the text forces you to view it as an investment with a highly measurable mathematical return.
And the text outlines exactly what to delegate first to get that quick win. Once your content is created, delegate the social media scheduling, outsource basic research, calendar management, and invoice follow-ups. Basically, all the stuff that clogs your mental bandwidth.
However, there is a major trap in level 4, and the text actually bolds it as an important warning.
You have to document first and delegate second. If you cannot explain a task clearly in writing, you haven't systematized it yet.
If you just hand off a messy process to an assistant, you aren't delegating, you are just dumping.
It's like handing someone the keys to a high-performance sports car, putting them in the driver's seat, and just walking away without telling them it has a manual transmission, and the clutch is incredibly sensitive.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right? They're going to stall it. They're going to grind the gears. They might even crash it. And it isn't because they are a bad driver. It's because you didn't give them the instruction manual.
The text literally calls skipping this documentation step expensive confusion.
Wow.
You end up paying someone to do it wrong. Then you have to spend your own highly valuable time fixing their mistakes, which defeats the entire mathematical purpose of level 4 leverage.
You just end up frustrated thinking, I should have just done it myself, which throws you right back to the hustle culture myth we started with. So, document your process, build the manual, and then hand over the keys.
Precisely. Systematize the work, then staff the system.
Which brings us directly to you, the listener. The source includes a Your Turn exercise, and we are issuing that challenge to you right now.
It is time to actually lay some of those digital pipes.
Take a piece of paper today and list your 5 most time-consuming weekly tasks, the things that just drain your energy and eat your hours. Look at each one and run it through the system. Ask yourself, can I template this? Can I build a reusable template this week? If not, ask, can I automate this? Can I research the right tool and lay the plumbing within the next 7 days?
And if not, ask, can I delegate this?
Exactly. What is my effective hourly rate?
Yeah.
And what is the ROI of hiring this out? Pick just one task from that list of 5 and implement a solution this week.
Just one task. Break the inertia of doing everything yourself.
So what does this all mean? We started by talking about the absolute burnout of hustle culture, but the text gives us a brand new definition of success. It says, the best hustle is the one that keeps working when you stop working.
And embracing that requires a fundamental willingness to change how you operate. The text closes this chapter with a famous quote from Thomas Edison. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
I love that quote.
I want you to really sit with that for a second. What if your current exhausting way of doing absolutely everything you're doing, carrying the weight of every email, every invoice, every social post is just one of those 10,000 ways that won't work long term?
That's a powerful thought.
Finding the right way, the leveraged way, might actually require you to do the one thing you have been terrified to do. Finally give up total control.